His wife was about to unalive him in the prison visitation room over gay microorganisms. You heard that correct. Gay microorganisms. This is the most preposterous prison story you've never heard. Viewer discretion is advised. When a heterosexual married man goes to prison and realizes he's gay, he has to find something to blame it on. This is the story. His name was Ricard, a mulatto from down there in Cajun country. Had a beautiful wife, 3 children, 2 daughters, and a son. First time in prison. He had like a 4th or 5th conviction DUI. Finally, they got tired of him, so they decided to send him to prison. 10-year sentence. He was probably going to have to do half of it and get out again. But when he made it to prison, he found out he was gay, and everything changed, included his marriage. And his wife, she wasn't happy. Actually, when she found out, the prison went on a whole lockdown. That's right. The prison went on a lockdown when he told his wife that he was gay in the prison visitation room. So when Ricard gets to the prison, little satellite camp that I was in, he realizes he's gay. I don't know at what point that Ricard realized he was gay, but at some point or another, I'm assuming he was in the shower from what dudes are telling me with another little dude, a little white dude. Like I said, Ricard was a mulatto. That means if you know anything about mulattoes and you from down here in Louisiana and Cajun country, that's basically a black person who is mixed with, you know what I mean, some Cajun or some French or some white, you know what I mean, ancestry. So they call them mulattoes. That's just a common terminology that's used in Louisiana, and that's what Ricard was. Well, when he's in prison, he supposedly, from what I'm told, and because I don't know how the dude found out he was gay, but they saying he went in the shower with another little dude, a little white dude, and he seen a little white dude naked, and supposedly it aroused him, and he got attracted to the little white dude. And then Ricard started messing with him, and they started having a sexual affair while he was in prison. Now, if you know anything about prison, they do have sexual affairs in prison, sexual relationships in prison, but it's not allowed per the rules and regulation of the prison. And if you get caught doing it, they're going to ride you out to what they call the hole or the dungeon. So they rode Ricard out to the dungeon. And when he's in the dungeon, he gets put on restriction where he can't get visitation. Well, this has happened multiple times over and over again. And his wife's trying to figure out, well, what's going on? Why can't I visit my husband? And the prison is only going to give her so much information, right? So he has to explain to his wife what's happening. And he's like, look, I'm on restriction. I can't get a visitation. So this goes on for some time. And so finally, time comes where Ricard is out of the dungeon for a long enough period of time to where now he can have a visitation with his wife. The whole time that goes on, from the time that he hadn't seen his wife last to the time he sees her again, is the time that he finds out that he's actually gay, because he's messing with the little dude. And they haven't, at this point, he's having a full-on, homosexual prison love relationship with the little dude. They call them boys in prison. So Ricard's with the boy. And the thing that I most remember about this story is what happens in the visitation room the day that Ricard tells his wife that he's actually gay and he wants a divorce. This is what happens. So he finally gets a visit. Ricard's wife, who everybody who saw Ricard's wife said that she was a beautiful woman. You know what I mean? Anybody would have loved to, those prisoners who were in there would have loved to have a wife visiting them that looked like this woman. And some of them were even jealous. And some of them, from what I understand, they came in to scoop up and try to be with her after Ricard exposed that he was gay to his wife. Well, so he's in the visitation room and he's talking. And I hear that he's nervous. He's fidgety the whole day. He's been drinking that coffee. You know what I mean? He gets, basic prison habits that everybody gets that are bad habits, drinking coffee, smoking nicotine. Well, he drinks that coffee, and they said he's fidgety all day long leading up to the visit. And he'd been talking to everybody else in the prison, you know, like, man, what should I tell my wife? What should I tell my wife? And some people are trying to talk sense into him. And they say, man, Rico, man, break it off with that punk, man. You don't need that boy, man. And he's like, nah, I got to be honest. You know, this is how I feel. They're like, man, you just in prison, man. That's just your sexual desires and your urges that are making you feel like that, man. You got to outdate. An outdate means you have a release date. You're not going to stay in prison for the rest of your life. Well, Ricard didn't understand that. There's a lot of convicts in prison. They've been in and out. Some dudes got 30, 40 years, right? 50 years, life sentences. And they're all around him too. And they're telling him, man, look, man, you got to outdate, man. Just have this little relationship with the little dude, the little boy. They call him boy. Have the relationship with the boy. And then when you get out, your wife don't got to know nothing. He's like, nah, I love her too much not to tell her that I'm in love with the boy. You know, and I don't want her to mislead her. They're like, man, it's going to end up bad. And then some dudes are saying, well, look, write her a letter. He's like, I can't write her a letter. I'm going to tell her in visitation. They're like, man, you crazy, man. So finally the visitation day comes. Ricard's in the visitation room. Partner of mine who worked in the visitation room taking pictures. If you know anything about prison, there's usually an inmate or a few inmates in the visitation room who their job is or their duty is they actually do the prison pictures. They take the photos with a Polaroid camera because you can take pictures with a Polaroid camera inside the prison. That's the pictures you get. Well, my partner in there, he's doing the Polaroid cameras. And everybody, not everybody, but I'm going to say a lot of the inmates know that Ricard is going to break it up with his wife. So Ricard's sitting at the visitation table. And all of a sudden, my partner who's taking pictures, he's ear hustling. They call it eavesdropping, ear hustling. So he's ear hustling. You know, he got his ear to the table trying to find out what happened so he can come back and put the lowdown back on the compound when he gets out. Well, he's telling his wife, and he's listening to the whole thing. He tells his wife, said, baby, I got something to tell you. And she's like, I haven't seen you in so long. Why can't I get visitations? Why do you keep getting locked up? And he says, I fell in love. And she's like, what? He said, yes, I fell in love with somebody in here. And she's like, you messing with one of these women prison guards? And he's like, nah, it's not no women prison guard. And she's kind of looking like, he's like, I'm messing with a boy. She said, you messing with a boy? And she's kind of, her face, my partner's listening, he ear hustling, he's looking, and the lady's face is like, she's blank. She's staring into nothing, oblivion. And Ricard tells her this story, and she's like, I don't understand. She said, when were you attracted to men? And he's like, I'm not attracted to men. I'm attracted, this boy is really like a woman. And she's like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? She's not understanding this, you know, because she's sticky. She done been with this man for like 2 years already, you know, of his incarceration, and she's waiting for him to get out. Well, Ricard tells his wife, she's like, at what moment did you know that you were gay? And he said, it's not a moment that I knew. He said, it's the fact that it's gay microorganisms. She said, what? He said, yes, it's gay microorganisms that are inside me that I didn't realize were there. That's how I'm gay. When he said this woman, his wife, she came up out of that chair in the visitation room and boom, 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 boom. She hit him. Punched him in the face. Boom, 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 boom. His face got punched every which way before the guards got a hold of her. And my man Ricard is laying on the ground, nose busted and bleeding. His wife done punched him straight in the nose, straightened him out every which way. She's screaming, I can't believe you, you bastard, you son of a gun. What about your kids? You know what I mean? Good thing the kids wasn't there that day, because he told her not to bring the kids because he had something to talk to her about. And the whole prison, the prison goes on a lockdown. They get Ricard, they put him in a hole, he gets back out. And so everybody's like, man, the craziest thing you ever could tell your wife was that you were gay because of gay micro. See, nobody knew he was going to say found out he was gay because of gay microorganisms. Come to find out, the little boy, the dude, the punk that he was messing with was a little nerdy dude, and he was into science. And he was telling Ricard the whole time that the reason Ricard didn't know that he was attracted to men is because the gay microorganisms that were inside his body, the biology, had not yet exposed themselves. They hadn't came out yet. And so when he went to talk to his wife, he tried to come at his wife with this gay microorganism stuff, and she just wasn't having it. So she just punched him upside the head. They got a divorce. He stuck with the boy, and I'm assuming this woman, went on to find somebody else, and hopefully, I don't know whatever happened to Rico when he got out. I don't know what the relationship was with his kids, you know what I mean? But that's the type of crazy stuff that you hear in prison that you don't hear prison channels talk about. And that's the type of stuff you always gonna get on the Pen and the Shank. That's right. The most unusual and unique prison channel on YouTube is right here. And you should give me a like and subscribe, and go check out the content in my large library of videos, because I got some unusual and unique stories that are literally gonna blow your mind. At the end of this video, there's gonna be a description to one. All you gotta do is click on it and watch it, and you're gonna be surprised. Come join the family at the Pen and the Shank, and thanks for watching. Let's get it.